Today we tell the story of one of the most extraordinary moments in European history, a moment when the balance of power was shattered not by numbers or wealth, but by resolve, intelligence, and an unbreakable will to survive. In the early 14th century, Scotland stood on the edge of extinction as an independent nation, its lands scarred by invasion, its people exhausted by years of war, and its future seemingly sealed beneath the shadow of England's growing empire. England, ruled by King Edward II, possessed what many believed to be the most powerful army in Europe, a force built on armored knights, disciplined infantry, experienced commanders, and the confidence of a kingdom accustomed to victory. When Edward marched north in 1314, he did so with nearly 50,000 men, convinced that Scotland's resistance was nearing its end, and that one decisive campaign would finally crush all opposition. Scotland, by contrast, could barely assemble 15,000 to 20,000 fighters, many of whom were farmers, craftsmen, and villagers with limited training and simple weapons. Men who had everything to lose and nowhere left to retreat. Leading them was Robert the Bruce, a man shaped by betrayal, exile, and relentless struggle. A king who had spent years fighting not only England, but rival Scottish factions, hunger, and despair. Bruce understood that Scotland could not win. A traditional battle that to meet England in open ground would mean annihilation. And so he chose instead to fight a war of intelligence, patience, and preparation. He selected the battlefield near Bannockburn with extreme care, choosing narrow approaches, marshy ground, streams, and woodland that would strip England's cavalry of its greatest strength and force their massive army into suffocating congestion. Every step of the ground was studied, every weakness anticipated, and every advantage turned into a weapon. The Scottish army was organized into schiltrons, tight formations of spearmen trained to move as one, their long pikes forming bristling walls designed to break cavalry charges and protect one another from overwhelming force. When the English knights launched their attacks, confident in centuries of battlefield dominance, they rode straight into chaos as horses impaled themselves on spears, formations shattered, and momentum died in mud and blood. The first day of fighting sent shockwaves through the English ranks as losses mounted far faster than expected, revealing that this was no disorganized rebellion, but a disciplined army fighting with purpose. Robert the Bruce moved among his men, steady and fearless, and when he personally killed an English knight in single combat, it became a defining moment of inspiration. A symbol that Scotland's king stood shoulder to shoulder with his soldiers rather than commanding from safety. As night fell, uncertainty crept into the English camp, while Scottish confidence grew stronger with every hour they had survived. On the second day, the English army attempted to bring its full strength to bear, but numbers once again became a curse rather than an advantage, as thousands of soldiers were squeezed into narrow ground where they could not maneuver, retreat, or even raise their weapons effectively. The Scots advanced slowly and relentlessly, their formations holding firm, their discipline unbroken, pushing the enemy backward step by step with grim determination. Behind them, camp followers, laborers, and civilians appeared on the surrounding hills, waving banners and shouting, creating the illusion that fresh Scottish reinforcements were pouring onto the battlefield. This psychological blow shattered what remained of English morale, turning confusion into fear and fear into panic as soldiers realized they were trapped. King Edward II, watching his army collapse, made the fateful decision to flee the field. And in that moment, the battle was truly lost. When the English king escaped, discipline evaporated. The once mighty army dissolved into chaos as thousands were cut down, captured, or drowned while attempting to escape through rivers and marshes. Bannockburn was not simply a victory. It was a transformation. It proved that empires could bleed, that arrogance could be punished, and that unity and preparation could overcome even the greatest material superiority. The battle secured Robert the Bruce's authority as king, strengthened Scotland's claim to independence, forced England to confront the reality that domination through force alone was impossible. Across Europe, Bannockburn echoed as a lesson in warfare and leadership, studied by commanders and remembered by nations as proof that history is not written solely by the powerful, but by those who refuse to surrender. For the Scottish people, The victory became a symbol of identity, survival, and pride. A reminder that even in the darkest moments, a determined few can defy the might of the world and change the course of history forever.